Hello, I'm Lori. This is Mackenzie. We're going to do a project with our peers over peer mediation and PECs.
Our goal is to implement PECs in the school-wide positive behavior support system and initially train these teachers to communicate with these students who use PECs, and then transition that into these students being able to communicate with their peers with the PECs as well. In our training videos, we will be using candy and toys as motivators.
Step 1 of the SWPBS system is to divide the students into groups, and each group has a predetermined peer that will be accepting the PEC for the item to be given to the patient. So we will be modeling that in our next video. So for this trial, we're going to start with doing a preference assessment, and I will be the teacher in this part and Mackenzie will be the student. In this section, we are going to have the options of candy, animal crackers, or Play-Doh available. And to decide what Mackenzie wants, we're going to have the 3 options out in front of her on the table right here. She's going to reach for whatever she prefers, and I'm going to give her the option on the PECS book. What do you want? You want candy. Give me candy. Thank you. Good job giving me candy. Here's your Reese's. In phase 1 of PECS training, we will have the student sitting across from the teacher, who in this case, Lori is the student and Mackenzie is the the peer that has the toy that I want. So we begin with a PECS book like so. These are around $8 that you can buy from any general store like Staples, Hobby Lobby, things like that. And we're going to put 1 PEC on. In this particular video, it's ball. In this one, I'm modeling candy. And I'm going to take the PEC and I'm going to point at it and do all these other things that when I first learned to communicate, I don't understand, or a student who uses PEC systems does not understand exactly how to implement a PEC system at first. They typically point, but the PEC system is the next step of going on to asking for items. So they understand that they want an item, but their pointing has gotten to the point that we don't know what they're pointing to anymore, or it's gotten too hard, or they sign a mixture of signs and we aren't understanding them. So in this particular video, I'm asking for a ball from Mackenzie, and she is the peer that has the item that I want. So I'm going to take, I only have an option of 1 item on my book, and I'm going to take it off and I'm going to give it to her, but she's going to teach me on how to take it off and give it to her and use it correctly. In phase 2 of this PECS training that we're implementing with peers, we would travel across the room with the PEC book, because Mackenzie, being the other peer, would have something that I was interested in. For instance, in this particular video, we're going to say that I was interested in a Reese's Heart. So I'm on the opposite side of the room and I'm coming to Mackenzie to get my candy. So I'm going to take 1 PEC at this point and still have the 1 PEC on the board and use it and give it to Mackenzie to get what I want. The initial phase of this would be to learn to travel with the PECs, but as we advanced into knowledge of the PECs and like me actually recognizing that this is candy every single time, then we could add stuff like Play-Doh and animal crackers to it, and I would travel and have multiple options, which we'll learn more about in phase 3 as well.
This would be our 3rd phase. This would include a student who would be using the PEC book, approaching another group of peers who are engaged in another activity that student may want as well. Due to the lack of the rest of our participants in the group being able to meet all together, we will explain this in the best way possible for training purposes. For example, we will have a group of students in a corner that are all playing with some Play-Doh. So if I'm over here and I'm playing with my Play-Doh with my friends, just hanging out, and Lori's way across the classroom, she sees this green awesome Play-Doh. She really wants it. She comes over to our group. She has multiple different pictures on her binder, and she's going to be able to discriminate which exact item she wants when requesting the item from this group of peers over here. So in this instance, she comes over, she will independently
Pick Play-Doh.
give it to me, and then I would share the Play-Doh with my peer.
For particular data sheets, we want to record the date of when you had taken the data. Then you're going to fill in your initials, your student initials, and what phase we did. So you're going to do phase 1, phase 2, or phase 3. Well, for this example, I'll just do phase 2, and the item that you used. So the item that we used, we'll say was ball. And then when you decide which one you're going to tell the prompt level, you're either going to have full physical, partial physical, gestural, or independent. When you first start out training, you'll probably have a lot of full physical, then you'll end up fading to partial physical, then hopefully you'll be at gestural, then hopefully you'll be an independent after that. You obviously want to start with the most intrusive prompt, but you want to fade to the least intrusive prompt. So just make sure you fill out your dates and record your data. Obviously somebody would probably be recording this and not the child, because the child probably wouldn't understand this unless you train them to do so. So I would just highlight whichever one I used. That way we could know which one I used for the electronic version. Otherwise you just write it with pencil or pen and fill it in.